got room for one more basketball inning?
One more good one.
Okay, one more game. Hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, and welcome to a prelude to a championship, along with Mike Francesa, who's been my faithful traveling companion along the road to the Final Four. And Mike, we've reached our last stop tonight with Michigan and Duke. Tip time at 22 past the hour, and this trophy is what they're playing for tonight, the big one on the line.
And neither side can stand in the way of history tonight, Pat. One team will write it. Duke as a repeat champion, or the fabulous freshmen of Michigan, who in their own words look tonight to shock the world.
Tonight, Steve Fisher's Michigan is looking to avenge an 88-85 overtime loss to Duke during the regular season. And for Duke, the stakes are even higher. You see Mike Krzyzewski arriving a short time ago, kissing his family off the bus, looking awfully serious here. You'd think there'd be a couple smiles here, but they were very serious. Get the lipstick off. He's going to be on camera all night, and he goes into the arena here to do battle tonight. Krzyzewski's Blue Devils are within one victory of becoming the first school to repeat as national champions since UCLA in 1973. That, incidentally, was the year in which all 5 of the fabulous freshman starters for Michigan were born. Right now, let's go down to courtside to check in with our Final Four roving reporters, Leslie Visser and James Brown. Leslie has been covering Duke, and we'll start there with last year's NCAA champions, for whom a big question has to be the health of Brian Davis. Now, you may recall that on this play early in the second half against Indiana on Saturday, Davis injured his left ankle. You see him going down there, right there. It was initially diagnosed as a high ankle sprain, and as you can see, it left him in a great deal of agony. And here is how he hobbled out on the Metrodome court after he got off the bus, and he came in on crutches tonight, walked into the hallway, and Leslie Visser is standing by now. And Leslie, you've been all over this story. What's the latest?
Pat, Brian Davis came out for warm-ups. He took a couple of trips up and down the court. He told me he was in a great deal of pain. He went back into the locker room, and he had a special heel lift put in his shoe to cushion the blow. Now, after having ultrasound all day long, he says that a la Kirk Gibson and Willis Reed, he's going to give it a go tonight, although he will not start. He'll be replaced by Grant Hill, who's also nursing an injury, a bruised right knee. What does all of this mean? It means more minutes for Cherokee Parks, who is Duke's fabulous freshman. For more on the other freshmen, let's go to James Brown. JB?
All right, Leslie, thank you very much. And Michigan has a little concern about one of its players, specifically 6'9" center Juwan Howard, who's got a case of intestinal flu. Now, Juwan actually started feeling bad in the semifinal game Saturday against Cincinnati, felt the worst yesterday when he lost a lot of fluids and was completely drained. I talked to him a few moments ago. He said he is strong enough certainly to play in this championship game, but I think it bears watching him because he certainly should get fatigued as the game wears on. You know, I'm a little surprised at how remarkably calm these freshmen are. Jalen Rose says we're approaching this game like it's another pickup game. Assistant coach Perry Watson said this is a case of where being a freshman is serving them well because they're too young to know they're supposed to be nervous. Right now, let's take it back upstairs to never nervous Patrick O'Brien.
All right, JB, good report, and Leslie. That's the latest on the two teams. Now the question is how they'll match up against each other, and what can we expect in this championship game, Mike?
From the Duke perspective, they're experienced, they're sophisticated, they're very versatile, Pat. They have to have Grant Hill step up for the injured Brian Davis because they have to rebound against Michigan. From the Michigan perspective, they have to show maturity on the court. They can't play this game in peaks and valleys, and I don't think they can chase Duke, which means I think Michigan has to play well early, because if they get behind, I think they'll try to rush it, and Duke's just too composed and has been in too many games like this.
Things to watch for early in the game. We'll be back with more on Michigan and Duke as a prelude to a championship rolls on from Durham to Detroit for primetime hoop fans of all ages here on CBS. Stay with us. Metrodome. This is where Washington crushed Buffalo in Super Bowl 26 back in January. Seems like a year ago. And who could forget the Twins' stirring 7th game victory in the World Series? And so as the new baseball season opens today, maybe it's only fitting that we, make ourselves at home here at the Dome. We're actually on first home plate. This is the one they used in the 7th game, and Dan Gladden's footprint is still on there.
He stepped right here, and his next step was in Detroit.
You know, while the Final Four is a familiar place for Duke, Michigan starts 4 19-year-olds and 1 18-year-old. who are only in their second semester of college. And we asked the youngsters from both schools what winning the national title tonight would mean to them.
It was a dream of mine, you know, growing up watching all the NCAA Final Fours with the last-second shots, you know, Michael Jordan and the great battles between Patrick Ewing and Hakeem Olajuwon. And, you know, I told my parents one day, you know, I'll be in the Final Four winning the national championship, and now it's just a reality. We'll have 2 national championships under our belt, and not many programs have done that. Absolutely no programs have done that, you know, back-to-back in 20 years or something like that, and that's just outstanding.
We haven't been able to enjoy it yet. We haven't been able to see all the shops with Michigan apparel and see all the fans and things like that, but it's really exciting. It's a dream come true.
It would be a dream for me. I think if we were able to win the national title, we would put ourselves really in a class by ourselves as far as basketball programs and things that people have accomplished.
You couldn't put it into words. It'd just be real sweet.
Hearts are beating a little faster tonight inside the Metrodome, and we'll be back with more of Prelude to a Championship in just a moment. Stay with us.
For fine quality automobiles, test drive a Honda at your local dealer today.
This right now, it's time for Mike and me to turn the microphones over to our colleagues Jim Nance and Billy Packer at courtside. Gentlemen, let's make some history tonight.
This is going to be a lot of fun, Pat. You're right, and it's great to be standing alongside the man who has called every championship game since 1975. Billy, it's a delight. 114 days ago, on December the 14th, we witnessed the coming out party, so to speak, of the Michigan Wolverines. It was an overtime thriller, quite simply, and I think there's a chance we have another one tonight.
Very possible, Jim. I think in that 114-day span, we might have seen the best regular season college basketball we've ever had. And, of course, I come away with a memory that night of the Michigan club that no longer had potential. They were a club that was going to be a factor all year long, and, of course, Duke proved to be a #1 type team.
One of the reasons why Jalen Rose, the outstanding guard for the Wolverines, Billy.
He was the MVP of the Southeastern region. Comes in here as a great leader, one of the smartest players I've seen come on the college scene in quite some time. A great floor leader, and he's been doing it with his scoring as well.
Bobby Hurley is 16-1 quarterbacking the Devils in NCAA tournament play.
Well, I thought last year he probably played the best point guard play that we have seen in NCAA tournament play almost in history. This year he's picking up right where he left off. A great winner, a great floor leader.
Christian Laettner closes out a memorable college career tonight. Just look at what he's accomplished. Not only the buzzer beaters on 2 occasions to get them to the Final Four, but the all-time tournament leader in scoring. Free throws made, free throws attempted, number of games played, and the only 4-time Final Four starter. Could even become the all-time steal leader tonight, Billy, in tournament play.
Well, here's a key thing for Michigan. They have got to stay in touch with Christian Laettner. Probably be Juwan Howard. Look at the space here on the swinging of the ball by Duke University. What's going to happen is they swing it to Laettner, who can play on the perimeter. There's a whole side cleared out for Christian Laettner. Juwan Howard has to stay closer because when he charges Laettner, Laettner goes by for one of his patented dunks.
The Wolverines in the tournament have been able to close the door on the opponent's top score. They've stopped them since the Temple game. 2 out of 11 for Kilgore. And look at Byron Houston, the All-America. 2 out of 14 with 8 turnovers. And Jimmy Jackson under 50% from the floor and 9 turnovers.
And, of course, here is that leader, a dominant inside player, Chris Webber. Last year, the #1 high school player in America. He has not let anybody down in his play this year at Michigan. He is an inside force, Jim.
It's Michigan and Duke for the 1992 National Championship. Lineups are next.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1992 NCAA Basketball National Championship game is sponsored by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right. The people at Nike who encourage you to just do it. And by Diet Pepsi with 100% aha. You got the right one, baby. Aha.
Final since Kansas of '88. And here's their road to the national final. In fact, oddly enough, 4 of the scores are very similar. And for Duke, East Regional champions, including one of the classics, the victory against Kentucky in overtime. And now let's introduce the starting lineup for the honors. Here's Frank Fallon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Metrodome for tonight's national championship game between the Michigan Wolverines and the Duke Blue Devils. And now let's meet the starting lineups. For Michigan at forward, a 6'9" freshman from Detroit, Michigan, number 4, Chris Webber. For Duke at forward, a 6'8" sophomore from Mobile, Alabama, number 21, Antonio Lang. For Michigan at forward, a 6'6" freshman from Austin, Texas, number 21, Ray Jackson. For Duke at forward, a 6'8" sophomore from Reston, Virginia, number 33, Grant Hill. For Michigan at center, a 6'9" freshman from Chicago, Illinois, number 25, Juwan Howard. For Duke at center, a 6'11" senior from Angola, New York, number 32, Christian Laettner. For Michigan at guard, a 6'5" freshman from Plano, Texas, number 24, Jimmy King. For Duke at guard, a 6'5" junior from Lancaster, Texas, number 12, Thomas Hill. For Michigan at guard, a 6'8" freshman from Detroit, Michigan, number 5, Jalen Rose. For Duke at guard, a 6-foot junior from Jersey City, New Jersey, number 11, Bobby Hurley. And the coach of Michigan in his 3rd season, Steve Fisher. And the coach of Duke in his 12th season, Mike Krzyzewski.
Billy, let's go through the Packer points for the championship game.
Well, the first thing we're going to see, Jim, is what's going to happen with the chairman of the board. Somebody could control the board tonight. If they do, they're going to win this basketball game. Key for both teams. A case in point, 2 great point guards, Jalen Rose and Bobby Hurley. Who gets the advantage in that critical matchup? Number 3, the bench warmers, and look, that's in red because both teams have had great play off the bench throughout this tournament. Can somebody come off that bench as Bosco did the other day, or Cherokee Parks? Changing of the guard. Christian Laettner going out as one of the great players in college basketball history. Chris Webber coming in. And the charity stripe, something that gives a big advantage to Duke University. We saw it in the Indiana game. Can they do it again tonight?
The officials, Jerry Donahue from Havertown, Pennsylvania, David Libby, San Diego, California, Tom Harrington, Chico, California, and Gene Monge is the alternate from Henrietta, New York. Webber and Laettner. And the 1992 championship game is underway.
It's going to be King on Hurley to start.
Laettner dribbled it right off his own leg.
Jim, remember the telestrator where we said keep in touch? You notice how Juwan Howard early on in that first game stayed away from Laettner when he on the perimeter. Today, he's right out there with him.
As Howard with the ball. He had flu-like symptoms yesterday and stayed in bed. Tough pass inside. Jackson tries to squeeze it over to Webber, and Hill is pounded to the floor. A foul against Webber.
Good job of collapsing man-to-man by Duke University. It looks like Mike Krzyzewski has decided to put Laettner on Webber, put Lang on Howard, figuring that Webber is the guy that could have the big game.
Laettner. Hill gets the long rebound. Stripped out of his hands. It belongs to Duke.
Grant Hill with 3 great putbacks for offensive rebounding baskets in the Indiana game was a key to that great run that they had to get back in the lead.
Laettner wants to get started on his game after an off Saturday, and there's the miss by Grant Hill. Jalen Rose looks up court. Howard. And a foul against Thomas Hill.
Good weak side help by Hill, and you can see the perfect lob pass to Juwan Howard inside.
Not since UCLA of '73 has there been a repeat champion. In fact, since that time, only 3 champions, defending champions, have made it back to the Final Four the next year. UCLA in '74. Billy, remember that one? Lost to North Carolina State.
Great game with NC State.
And Georgetown '85.
That's one we thought was in the bag, except for Raleigh Massimino's club upset that one. And of course, last year,
UNLV '91. Yep.
And I personally thought that one was in the bag. So it is tough to get back to the top of the championship.
Still looking for the game's first point. Hill will drive to the paint, give it back to Thomas Hill. Hurley inside to Laettner. Stolen away by Weber.
Not a good pass by Laettner.
2 turnovers by Laettner. Howard has the blocks. Too strong, and another foul inside.
It'll be Jalen Rose coming over the back. Teams are a little tight, Jim, to start this ball game.
Alice charge number 5, Jalen Rose, his first, team second.
So the first on Rose and the second against Michigan.
And you notice what Duke is doing early on here. They're having Bobby Hurley go down low, let Grant Hill take the ball up on the top. Hurley being a better perimeter shooter. There he is.
Thomas Hill on the tip.
Duke going to that double low post with Bobby Hurley stepping out. We know what a good outside shooter he is. Big overplays by Duke. I'd expect Rose to try to dribble Hurley on inside, shoot that leaning left-hander of his. He's now posting up down under the basket looking for the lob pass.
Gets around Laettner.
Great
block. Hill. Grant Hill blocked it, but right back to Michigan. Jackson saved it. Got it over to King, and that's a 3.
Jimmy Jackson lit it up early against Cincinnati. He was the one fella that seemed to have his stroke. Both teams very tentative offensively to start this game.
Travel. Already 3 turnovers on Christian Laettner.
Jim, I'm surprised that Duke doesn't start Laettner down low. Try to get him on a roll with some easy baskets as opposed to playing on the perimeter so much with Howard. Jalen Rose really wanting to post up Bobby Hurley inside. Hurley gives up about 8 inches.
Rose and Howard in the area. Rose, he traveled.
Good switching by Duke on the inside. Now what happens when you take your point guard and take him off the ball to post up inside? It can take the normal flow of your team completely away. It's kind of like trying to foul out a particular player. The rest of the 4 guys have a tendency to stand around. So see how long Steve Fisher stays with that strategy.
Duke is only 1 for 5 from the floor. The only basket a tip in by Thomas Hill. Laettner doubled up.
Excellent double team. Leaves Lang wide open.
They had 2 Duke players and only 1 Michigan player under the goal, but right off the fingertips of Lang. They credit the turnover to Laettner, so that's his 4th. Cherokee Parks had such a big game on Saturday. Replaces Laettner.
And there's a little discipline move by Mike Krzyzewski, wanting Laettner to settle down. Figure he may be too high up for this ball game. And here's where Rose can be more effective.
Howard right over Parks. He challenged it right away. Goodbye, Mr. Weber. Not a bit of tension on the face of Weber. Enjoying the spotlight. He's been smiling since they took the floor. Savoring the moment. Hurley, a long-range 3. Oh, he sets the Duke record with 6 threes in the victory against Indiana.
And, Jim, they were huge threes because Duke was really struggling at that time.
Hurley tries to make the save, but he was on the line. Our first dead ball under 16 minutes. 15-15 to go. First half. 5-5. Michigan and Duke. Cody Hunter, the captain of the Wolverines, finally a scholarship player the 2nd semester of his senior year. 3 years ago, he was on the intramural championship team at Michigan. Freddie and the 7 Dwarfs. Hoping to be on the championship tonight, Freddie and the Fab 5. And on the other side, there's Ron Burt, who was one of 38 Duke players trying out for the team on October 15th. A year ago, he was on the Duke intramural champions, the Dream Team. And now his dream with a ring could come true tonight.
Jim, Laettner back in the game. Mike Krzyzewski just trying to get his head on straight with a little bit of a sit down. Now this is a better matchup for Duke with the big team, Cherokee Parks, and it allows Hurley to play Jackson, who is not a big scorer.
Offensive on Weber, and that's his 2nd. He fouled out in the first matchup this year against Duke.
And you'll see Christian Laettner gets over in front of him. Weber really had an angle, but he pushed off with that inside hand. And Jim, not only did he foul out of that game, we remember what happened in the Southeastern Conference, the Southeast Regional game against Oak State, when he had to sit down with foul problems and thought it was all over, and his freshman teammates said, hey, we're going to win this one for you in advance, and they did.
Yeah, he fouled out of that game at only 18 minutes. So Eric Riley is in for the Wolverines, replacing Weber. Brad Hill gets it back out last second. Thomas Hill right on the line. Yes.
Excellent ball penetration, and that's one of the things that Duke can do with 3 players around the floor. Thomas Hill, Hurley, and Grant Hill himself.
I say right on the line. We had the perfect angle on that. You could tell it was good the minute it left his hands. It's a 3. He wasn't on the 3-point line.
Cherokee Park stepping out, doing a pretty good man-to-man job on Howard. Matches up with him in size.
Howard, good pass to Ray Jackson. Thomas Hill pulls it down and chases it down. Hurley makes the move to get by Rose. Pull up 3. He's off the mark.
That was, again, Grant Hill at 6'8", doing the job on the offensive boards.
Laettner.
Wow. And stood still and watched the shot, Jim, after he missed it.
And a steal by King. First 6 minutes of this game, Christian Laettner's in a total funk. Right over Laettner, they score. Eric Riley.
We talked about some hot bench warmers, and Steve Fisher has been able to look down that bench. He must look in their eyes to figure out which one's hot, because as soon as he puts them in, they produce.
Skip pass to Hill.
Good defense by Rose. Yep.
Parks pushed off for position. That's his first and the 2nd against Duke.
Nice defensive job by Riley to be in perfect position, and look at who's going to try to make an appearance here.
One of Saturday's heroes comes in for Michigan, Voskuhl, and here is Brian Davis, the senior co-captain, with the high ankle sprain. It's the first start he missed all senior season tonight. And Antonio Lang is also back into the lineup for Duke after a short rest. Let's check out Davis. He's guarding King on this possession.
Jimmy King ought to test him right away and see if he can beat. There he goes. See if he can get with him on the drive.
Riley bounces it in. Good pass. Score the basket. Foul against Hurley. And Howard will shoot one.
Excellent two-man inside game by Riley, who last year was the Big Ten's #2 rebounder and Big Ten's #2 shot blocker. This year finds himself on the bench because of that man Howard, but certainly delivering. Perfect play. Bobby Hurley had no opportunity coming over from the weak side.
It's been the year of Howards at Michigan. First it was Desmond claiming college football's biggest prize, and now Juwan Howard trying to get college basketball's championship ring. Laettner throws it away to Rose.
Jim, that is Laettner's 5th turnover of the game. No points, 5 turnovers. He's going to have to get himself moving, and if you're Bobby Hurley, you ought to let him touch the ball a lot to get out of this funk he's in. Still no basket. And he's not following his shot either. He's shooting and standing and just looking at it.
Three-pointer by Rose. In and out, and Lang has it. Duke pushes it up. Oh, to Hill. And knocked away. And for a second, Billy, it looked like Duke was trying to come back and replay a same kind of dunk from a year ago in the first half against Kansas. That's one of the best in championship history.
But a good play by Vosco getting over there. He was the guy that was the difference in the game the other day against Cincinnati.
Laettner now driving off the glass, and he gets started with his first 2.
And with Chris Webber on the bench, it's important that they get Laettner on track.
Howard already put the ball on the floor once, and it's a 5 count. He couldn't dribble with it. I don't think his teammates realized it. You see, he's signaling, hey, I'd already taken 1 dribble. An official's timeout with 11:42 to go first half. Wolverines by a bucket. Tonight for CBS Radio. The voice of the Kentucky Wildcats. Let's listen in.
What has to be a very sore ankle will inbounds the ball.
Well, the real problem when you have an ankle as sore as he has, he can't make quick cuts to the basket, so I don't think he'll be as effective. If he can react, then he can be a somewhat of a factor in this game.
Hurley working around the top of the key, can't get through, gives it off to Thomas Hill. We can just call him Hill now because Grant is on the bench. They go inside to Laettner. And Laettner trying to throw it back outside, throws it away. Rose driving, alley-oop, tough shot by King.
On the turnovers, Michigan has 11, and they've gotten probably about 6 of those off of Laettner's turnover.
14-10, Hurley drives to the right side. Going inside, here's Lang, and he is fouled by Howard. As he tried a reverse layup, Howard got him. That is Howard's first, number 4 against the Wolverines. And we will put Antonio Lang on the line. Among the Duke starters, he is the poorest free throw shooter, 66% coming into this game, and he's looking for his first score of the game. Right here, he'll get 2 shots. Michigan has been to the free throw line 3 times, made 1. This will be Duke's first 2. Michigan with a 4-point lead, 14-10. Antonio Lang puts up the first of 2, no good. And boy, it was a brick. Oh boy. He pounded the backboard with that one. The only chance it had was to bank in off the board. Didn't make it. Lang back on the strike. Shots up. Rattles a rim, but it stays in there. 14-11. And Duke goes to a full court press for the first time. With the ball is Riley. Puts down a dribble, shows some... Oh, he throws a bad pass. After the trap got him, he leaped into the air, committed himself.
Haywood Ledford. Our best wishes to Kaywood, working the game on CBS Radio with Quinn Buckner. And you know, Billy, when Duke knocked out Kentucky in the East Regional Final, Mike Krzyzewski and all that pandemonium went over to the Kentucky broadcast setup, got himself a spare headset, as Hill hits, Thomas Hill, and wished Haywood Ledford all the best in his retirement. A class move by Mike Krzyzewski on what had to be a disheartening moment for Ledford, who thought he might be going back to the Final Four with his Kentucky team.
Of course, the last time a Kentucky team played in a Final Four here was the only one ever held in Minneapolis, 1951, and they came away with a victory. There's Hurley with a breakaway.
Picks up the loose ball and takes it to the glass for two.
Those are the days of Adolph Rupp, Bill Spivey, Cliff Hagan. Hurley on a hand check.
And that's 2 on Hurley, 4 on Duke in the first half.
You can see Weber out with 2 fouls. Now Hurley's going to have to sit. There's Hurley splitting everybody on defense. Bosco stays with him. I thought Bosco gave him a push right there and got by with it. No call by the official. Hurley scored anyway, so Hurley has to sit. Weber has to sit, so 2 of the key players in our matchups are on the bench with foul trouble. And Laettner in a situation where he has 1 basket and 6 turnovers.
Brian Davis is defending Howard. Here's the matchup. Howard shoots it over him for 2. What about Brian Davis from what you've seen so far, Billy?
Well, he's able to get up and down the court, but I don't see any movement out of him in regard to quickness and all. That'd be anticipated. I have never seen Duke turn the ball over quite as much as they are today. Very uncertain in their offensive set, and a lot of that be the fact, I think, that Christian Laettner has not taken over on the offensive end.
Hurley right back in after a quick blow, and Brian Davis sits. 9 turnovers for Duke, but Duke trails by only a point.
Jim, I'm going to go back to the Indiana game where I thought it was not a smart move by Duke to have Christian Laettner play that entire second half and basically take no shots and not touch the ball. He has not gotten in sync at all with their offense. These 2 clubs met in the opening of in the semifinal game in 1964, the year UCLA started the great run with Hazard and Goodrich. Duke beat Michigan that particular year, and then, of course, UCLA beat Duke for the championship.
Grant Hill gets the pass, no, right off the hands of Laettner. King floating, missing. Thomas Hill lost it for a moment. Snatches it back. His 4th rebound. They clobber Grant Hill. He'll go to the line for 2.
Jim, if there's any huge difference between these 2 teams, it is the charity stripe. In the case of Michigan, they have made 58 less free throws than their opponents and shot 35 less. Duke has made 290 more free throws than their opponents and shot 450 more. So a great imbalance in regard to the number of times these teams go to the line. A lot of that is orchestrated by the way their coach forces play on transition and with penetration to get there.
2 for Hill as we look now at the support graphic, Billy. Free throws for Duke.
You can see they're averaging 32 a game.
And again, 26 more free throw attempts than Indiana on Saturday. That foul was against James Bosco.
Now with Weber back in the game, one of the things that he has got to really be careful is on the offensive glass, not going over somebody's back.
Rob Pelinka has come in for Michigan. He was a member of the '89 Wolverine championship team. Here he is, Pelinka.
Remember who took the shot at the end of the game against Duke up at Michigan? It was Pelinka off the bench.
In his first action, they brought him in at the last minute. An outside shooter. That foul against Grant Hill, and his first and Duke's 5th. Billy, I know you want to send out some best wishes tonight to Frank McGuire.
He's a Hall of Famer. He suffered a stroke today. 78-year-old coaching legend, and of course he led North Carolina to one of the all-time greatest triple overtime victory over Kansas and Wilt Chamberlain for the national championship for the Tar Heels. We wish him well.
1957.
Right.
Triple OT in the semis, triple OT in the finals.
And
Weber will have one more.
And here's Chris Weber having foul shooting trouble once again. Shooting a little bit now under 50% on the year. the two leaders for Duke University on the bench, Davis and Laettner. Mike Krzyzewski has seen about all of Laettner he wants for this period of time. He's just not getting it done.
Early. Parks tries to tip it in. Gives Michigan a chance with the numbers. Rose comes from the other side. And he'll step to the line for two more.
You know, if anybody ever sees Jalen Rose in practice, you would think that he could never turn on the afterburner. But we saw him right there just explode to the basket.
Thomas Hill, Billy, with his second. In the act of shooting, Rose will shoot two. Ryan Davis, he's tested the ankle and able to provide some minutes tonight for the Devils, replacing Thomas Hill. Jalen Rose, a year ago, led Southwestern High School to the state championship in Michigan. Same school that produced Anderson Hunt and his high school coach, Perry Watson, now on the staff for Steve Fisher.
Watson, of course, incredible leader, 2 state championship teams there. Incredible overall record, was picked as the National High School Coach of the Year, and they were the #1 team in high school basketball a year ago.
3 points for Rose, who has the all-time Michigan freshman scoring mark, surpassing Mike McGee at one stage of this tournament. 18-17 Michigan. Under 8 minutes to play in the first half. Parks wide open at the free throw line.
Good step out by Cherokee Parks, who came in and did a great job against Indiana, picking it up right where he left off. Michigan players have to realize Davis doesn't have good mobility. They need to put the ball on the floor and drive by.
King wildly. And Hurley pulls up.
Sharp play by Bobby Hurley. He realized he did not have the numbers, therefore don't go all the way to the basket. Pulls up and takes a jumper.
Rose stopped his dribble. They've got him doubled up.
Foul, sure.
Yep, they call it on Jalen Rose.
He had nobody coming to the ball. He picked up his dribble at the worst place, right as he crossed half court. Jalen upset, but there's no question he's the fellow that committed the foul by using his elbow to split the defense.
His second, team foul number 6. An official's timeout. And the Devils have a 3-point advantage.
Against Cleveland. He said he has 161 other games to catch the Orioles, only this chance to see his son. Jim?
Can certainly understand the pride of Calvin Hill.
Laettner trying to get on track. And I think they're going to have to set some screens for him because people are playing behind him. His shot's not going down. He's got to get some easy ones. He is now 1 for 5 with 6 turnovers.
Rose in and out.
Good
Rebounds, bounces to Grant Hill. And Davis, without that 100% speed, unable to challenge the Wolverines. Look at this pass. Weber fields it. Dunk time.
Well, Jim, Davis just can't finish.
Jalen Rose.
Normally, Davis is one of the best slashers and finishers in college basketball. Had no chance to do that there.
Grant Hill back of the rim. Laettner has it taken out of his hands. And Rose just had one beautiful assist. He looked for another, finding Howard as the trailer.
And Jim, you know what really concerns me about Christian Laettner? Now, it's one thing to be having a bad game, which he is having, but he didn't hustle that time. The ball hit off Howard. He stood at the other end of the floor. Mike Krzyzewski's going to have no patience with that. At one time this year, he was down 19 points to Clemson, and he took his starters out and let the subs go ahead and get it back in there. Ask the starters if they really wanted to play. Now that
was Howard. Howard throwing him to the floor. Laettner in the act of shooting will shoot 2. That's for Howard, his second.
Yep.
How about this pass, Billy, from Rose?
Great pass, great catch, and excellent finish. And there goes that motion by Chris Weber. Now, think it, you know, when you throw a guy right to the floor like that, to me, that is an intentional foul.
Billy, if it seems like Christian Laettner has been on the college basketball scene longer than any other player, it's only because it's true. He's played in more tournament games, and with this one tonight, it's his 148th game at Duke, and he passes Danny Manning for the most games ever played in college.
Well, Danny Manning, in his final game, put a team on his back and carried him to a championship. So far, Christian Laettner is not getting that done. Of course, you can't fault them in one respect. Without him, they wouldn't be here.
Lang in for Laettner. He passed Elvin Hayes, the Big E, although he's had numerous more opportunities, Billy, than Hayes had in the tournament. Manning, the third all-time scorer.
Well, he has a chance also to become the all-time steal leader. Beat Mookie Blaylock if he can get 2 of those.
Howard spinning around.
Hurley would have the numbers again. Pelinka went down.
Driving past King. Loose ball. Lang in there.
Oh.
Weber just takes it away.
And how about that dribbling ability of Chris Weber?
How about the numbers behind the back, and Pelinka scoring and a foul.
Some sensational dribbling by Chris Weber on both halves of the court. And then what a feed. Jim, I said at the top of the show, we may be seeing the changing of the guard. And that certainly was done with some emphasis.
There was no foul on that play. A Duke player had his hand caught in the net. So it would have been basket interference had Pelinka missed. But Rob Pelinka, off the beautiful pass from Weber, gives Michigan a 2-point lead. Hill right back, trying to tie it. Weber on the line.
Weber's dribbling just to get free of the good defense was something. And then when he puts it behind his back, Pelinka with a 360. And the reason for the whistle, as you pointed out, Jim, it would have been goaltending had it not gone in anyway. You see how it just picks up this Michigan team when Weber does something sensational.
Off the screen, Hurley kicks it over. Thomas Hill, short.
44, Cherokee Parks pushing.
A moment ago, Krzyzewski dealing with Christian Laettner.
Jim, I've only seen Mike Krzyzewski get on Christian like that once before, and that was when the team was getting ready to go up to play in the World Games. And he got in his face something serious there.
It looked like, if you could read the lips, it looked like he said, "You walked to the ball." Parks goes out now with 2 fouls, having committed the one on Weber.
Chris Weber, of course, we saw him in the first game against Duke. 11 for 15, 12 rebounds, 27 points. Oh, what a leap by Hill. But that was a vertical leap, 30-some inches.
He has 5 rebounds. Under 5 to play in the first half. Laettner, after the pep talk, off the mark.
Jim, see how he's shooting and standing still? He's not following his shot.
But
He hits the floor and looks at it.
The putback by Grant Hill. Good ball handling by Howard, and dishes on the baseline. Weber missing. Rose follows.
No block out on the wing by Bobby Hurley. But excellent ball handling by Howard and Weber.
Grant Hill wants the baseline and uses the glass to perfection. 6 for Grant Hill.
Nobody glides in any better than he does to the basket. Back screen that time. Howard almost had it.
Jimmy King back in the iron. Weber up high to zip it home.
And no block out on the inside. Mike Krzyzewski saying Hurley got pushed off. No call. Good switch by Chris Weber.
Boy glides past Weber this time. Does Grant Hill. 3 consecutive baskets for Grant Hill.
Jim, Weber made the switch that time, and he was looking for some help on the inside.
But Howard has the position.
He's working Laettner over inside.
Rose over the top. Laettner's second rebound.
And here he is walking down the court again.
Early. Lang with the loose change.
Jim, Laettner never crossed half court on that possession. You don't know if he's sick, but he certainly is a major story in this first half. And for Duke on the negative side.
Turnover by Michigan. And watch Laettner, Billy.
Jim, see, Jim, here he is. You have 9 guys. He'd normally be under the boards battling. Look, he's up over at half court. 9 men down on the other end of the offensive end of the court.
An official's timeout. So in the first half. Billy, the game summary. To this point, your thoughts?
Well, kind of interesting. Duke is getting the job done on the boards, and even though they're hitting the offensive boards, they can't get the putbacks because Michigan filling right in on them. Good block out by Grant Hill. Smart play.
Here's some numbers now to support what you were talking about. Field goal percentages, Duke under 40%.
Duke with 11 turnovers. Laettner with 6 of those. Being guarded now by Riley.
Doubled up.
Use the left hand.
Strongest move, perhaps, of the 2 games in Minneapolis.
Jim, when a guy's having a bad game, a big man, it's good to get him down in the low post and get him the ball to get some confidence back. He's been playing so much on the perimeter. When you're not hitting your shot, that's tough for a big fella.
Remember Freddie Hunter? We told his story, how he was on the intramural champs. Here he is in the game now. Oh, and he throws it away. Hill stole it. Made a great play, actually, to deny Jimmy King. Laettner thought he might challenge Riley.
He's looking to get in the low post. There he is.
Hill has to just throw it right into the hands of Oscar. That was another bad pass.
It was. Laettner put Hill in a disadvantage there. Good hedge by Lang. Now he's got to stay with him.
Rose up high. So smooth.
Jalen Rose, such a smart basketball player. When he saw the hedge taking place by Lang stepping out, he forced Lang to take him, and Lang can't stay with his dribble. Duke kids look very tired at this point in the game. Going to hold it for the last shot of the half. And Steve Fisher's not coming out to play him.
Duke has its starting lineup on the floor for the last possession of the first half. There is actually a 1-second difference.
Jim, I think that Duke is much more effective in this set when Hill takes it inside because he can play over bigger people, but it's going to be Hurley this time.
Hurley gets the motor running at 10.
Look for Thomas Hill on the double screen. Here he comes.
Hurley driving on King. Laettner outside. Makes the head fake. Leans in off the glass. No, back of the rim. And Michigan will go to the locker room with a 1-point lead. The end of the first half with the score, Michigan 31, Duke 30, and CBS Sports coverage of the NCAA Basketball Championship will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of the 1992 NCAA Basketball National Championship game is sponsored by Oldsmobile, official car for NCAA championships. AT&T, proud sponsor of the 1992 U.S. Olympic team. And by UPS, offering 1030 guaranteed overnight air delivery. Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid. The Prudential.
Inside the Metrodome, the Wolverines of Michigan lead the Duke Blue Devils 31-30. And the story tonight so far has been Christian Laettner. He comes here, folks, as Superman after that big game against Kentucky. And tonight he is suffering again after having a poor game on Saturday. Into the locker room he goes. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien along with Mike Francesa. Welcome to the Prudential at the Half. What is wrong with Christian Laettner?
I think that's the question a nation of basketball fans are asking. I think the Duke coaches are asking the same question. Pat, 2 of 8, lethargic play, looks unsure every time he handles the basketball. I don't know the answer. I don't even know if they know the answer.
Sure, they're trying to find out tonight.
Absolutely.
Right now in the locker room. Well, the national championship is the most fitting time for us to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Dr. James Naismith's invention of the game of basketball. Curry Kirkpatrick, who covers college hoops for Sports Illustrated magazine and CBS Sports, takes us for a nostalgic spin down memory lane.
Happy birthday, basketball. Once you were conceived in peach baskets. Now you've grown into domes. Once you embraced the Wonder Five. Now every team has 5 players of wonder. Born in a Y in Springfield, Mass., the good Dr. Naismith delivered you to Kansas, to another legendary coach, Fog Allen.
Dr. Naismith, he could sit in this room right here all day long, and you would never know he'd invented the game because he would never tell you.
100 years ago, Naismith perceived basketball as a game between 9-man teams, with no dribbling, no pivoting even, and a jump ball after every basket. Is that weird or what? Of course, if the old doctor were alive today to see basketball, he'd ask the same type of questions. Like, what is the deal with this net? And what else have you done to my game? From ancient gyms to prolific jams. But back in time, a coach, Henry Iba, relied not on dunks, but on centers. Foothills Bob Kurland of Oklahoma A&M and monstrous George Mikan of DePaul began the legacy of the battling giants.
They called us goons and all those kind of things. But we proved that through proper instructions, we were able to compete.
And the torch is passed from coast to coast, from the redhead Bill Walton, who taught the real deal, Shaquille O'Neal. The more basketball changes, the more it remains the same. Lucetti of the running one-hander begat Cousy of the behind-the-back pass, who begat Oscar of the glorious all-round game. Legendary Bearcat to anonymous Bearcats. Morning, today, tonight. Coach K of the volatile to Coach K of the serene, who despite all of Duke's Final Fours, can never shake bitter rival North Carolina, whose coach is another dean, who learned this grand game from a familiar Fog, who got it straight from the hands of the doctor. Back in Springfield, they paved paradise to put up a parking lot, from whose corner kids dribble the dream into another old gym a few blocks away. Here, one of their own, Travis Best, once practiced so that he could play in this year's tournament.
Having the Basketball Hall of Fame right in my own backyard, it's been a real key for me, you know, learning the game, you know, and experiencing some of the history that's going on in basketball.
For Naismith's hometown kid, to someday win Naismith's trophy would be a wonderful fit. For now, our children are the joyous links of a chain, the best birthday present a game could ever wish for. Here's to you, Hoops. Have another happy 100. Curry Kirkpatrick, CBS Sports.
We want to credit a big assist for that piece to the Basketball Hall of Fame up in Springfield, Mass. If you haven't been there, you should visit that. When we come back here, we'll check in on the Michigan and the Duke locker rooms. Leslie Visser with a report on Christian Laettner as At the Half rolls on for all the grateful heirs of Dr. Naismith's legacy. Stay with us, folks. I can guarantee you, none of those 51,000 people, including the bands, are leaving here tonight. Michigan leads by 1 point at the half in a championship game. And welcome back to the Prudential at the Half. Time now to check in with our roving reporters. Let's begin with Leslie Visser, who is standing outside the Duke locker room. Leslie?
Pat, the folks at Duke say there is nothing physically wrong with Christian Laettner, that Michigan is doing an effective job of double-teaming him. The coaches, however, do want Christian to make better decisions down low, that when he is double-teamed to kick the ball out, and as they advised him against Indiana, they want him to pick some different spots on the floor. They also would like to see a little bit more of an emotional, I think maybe a little emotionally exhausted. They'd like to see more out of him there. But as for now, nothing physically wrong with him. If Duke is to repeat as champion, though, they think he has to shake his emotional exhaustion and have a big second half. For What's Up with Michigan, let's go to James Brown.
All right, Leslie, thank you very much. The Michigan coaching staff was not alarmed coming up the stairs at all when they went into the locker room at halftime, but that's a part of their continuing philosophy not to unnecessarily upset the youngsters, to talk to them calmly and rationally. But there is reason to be alarmed when you consider that Duke is out-rebounding Michigan. They turn the ball over more than Michigan. They're shooting poorer from the floor than Michigan and only trailing by 1. So there is reason for major concern because Duke does a great job of adjusting in the second half. The major adjustment for Michigan, per the coaching staff, is for Jalen Rose to be more active on the offensive end to initiate things because the rest of the team takes his cue from him. Right now, let's go back upstairs to Pat O'Brien.
All right, JB, Leslie, what do you think?
I think Duke will pick up the defensive intensity right out of the box, and number 2, we're going to find out just how tough mentally Christian Laettner is in the second half.
No kidding on that one. Well, the Wolverines or the Blue Devils are 1 half away from the national title. We'll find out as we rejoin Jim and Billy when our exclusive coverage of the NCAA championship continues here on CBS after a message and a word from your local station. Enjoy the second half, everybody.
The Prudential at the Half was sponsored by The Prudential. In a changing world, one thing remains rock solid. The Prudential. By Chevrolet, the cars and trucks more people depend on. Reebok, who asks, who is the world's greatest athlete, Dan or Dave? And by Pizza Hut, home of the new pepperoni lovers pizza, with 25% more pepperoni.
Michigan 31-30 at halftime. Close first half, 4 ties, 12 lead changes, and the largest lead at any one time was 4 by Michigan. Hey, Michigan was very late coming out here, Billy, for the second half.
There were only about 40 seconds of warm-up time for Michigan. I looked at the referees. They said they have never been in a situation where neither team was on the floor when they came back out. The story, obviously, was the first half. What was Christian Laettner? And I think back, you know, you talked about his great stats. 24 against Alonzo Mourning in the tournament, 28 against UNLV. Great games against Shaq O'Neal. Tremendous game against Kentucky. This fella's certainly capable. It'll be interesting to see how he responds in what is going to be the last half of his collegiate career.
What's your gut feeling? Will he have a big half?
Yeah, after what I saw in the first half, Jim, which really shocked me because I've seen him throughout his 4-year career. I've never seen anything like that before, at any time, in any game. Good cut by King.
King couldn't handle it, though, and Duke has the numbers. Back to Laettner. They get him started right away.
Well, if you're going to get a big man started, get him down low. That was a good cut by King. He just couldn't handle the pass. Solid screen looking for the lob to Howard. He's got good post position.
Flips it over, half hook. And Michigan back in front by 1.
Lang has got to recognize when he's going to be back screen like that.
Laettner, he wants the jumper, and he hits the 3. His first shot really from the outside.
He may be ready to answer that question.
Off the fingertips of King.
And there's Christian Laettner beating everybody down for it, getting back down in position.
Teammates cheering him on, cheering on their captain.
Hey, Mike Krzyzewski said, let's get the ball to the big guy.
Early brings it over to Laettner's side now. He'll go across.
Clear out.
As Hill drives baseline.
Jalen Rose couldn't handle Hill on the clear out.
9 for Thomas. Duke has its largest lead, a 4-point lead. Weber challenging Laettner, missing the hook.
Howard, who did not score in the first half. Did not get a rebound in the first half. That was his first one of the game.
Right by Laettner. Weber score it, and he'll shoot 1.
Jim, I think he is So effective. I mentioned in that first game we did this year, he reminds me so much of James Worthy with that great drop step he has in the low post. And you can see he is by Laettner before Laettner even can react.
Second foul on the end of this play, Billy, by Grant Hill.
Watch that quick reverse. Second time tonight, Weber's going around him. So quick.
In the first game, Weber dunked on Laettner, and they talked a little bit. He said, "You've just been dunked on national television." Laettner came back and later dunked on Weber and said, "That's how you do it, little kid." They talked a lot on that first one, Billy.
Well, there hasn't been much conversation at all tonight, which kind of surprised me.
Look at him driving. Laettner gets caught, gets it out to Hill.
Great block.
Blocked by Jackson.
Hurley trying to draw a foul on that play.
Howard has the rebound.
Hurley didn't try to make that shot as much as he tried to get Rose to foul him.
Rose with the three. Laettner's fourth rebound. Up ahead to Hill. Fouled with the body by Jackson. Again, every time I see that, Billy, I think back to the Hurley to Hill combination last year against Kansas. The dunk that will be replayed for years to come. The one you compared to David Thompson.
Yeah, related to David Thompson, which took it all the way back to 1974.
Thomas Hill.
That's short. There's a push off inside. And is that Rose's third?
Well, Jerry Donahue signals it's on Rose. His third.
And what they're doing to Jalen Rose right now is setting him up for one-on-one moves against him because he's matched up with Hill. Steve Fisher's got a decision to make. It could be Talley coming in off the bench.
Steve Fisher coaching his 100th game at Michigan. Thomas Hill to the line for two. One of three starters in the championship game from the state of Texas.
Weber has fouled out of 5 games this year, but Jalen Rose, with all of his responsibilities, has not fouled out one time this year. So although Steve Fisher's contemplating a move, he keeps walking on the sidelines trying to figure out what to do. The guy's been weaving a magic wand in NCAA tournament play, the 12-1 record. He's got a decision to make now.
James Bosco checks in for Michigan. For Rose, who will sit with the three.
Now, let's see if Duke starts to press. With Rose out of the game, it'd be excellent time to press because now you've got Jimmy King as the primary ball handler. Good move by Mike Krzyzewski.
Lang comes over
counterpoint
to double up. King, two-pointer, had a foot on the line, and Laettner has the rebound come right to him. Lang bouncing it into Hill.
Oh, that's 3 on Weber now.
3 on Weber, 3 on Rose.
A repeat of the Indiana situation where 4 players fouled out, and Duke put them in a very precarious position on that great run they made in the second half by going to the charity stripe time and time again. Weber had looked like mostly all ball on the play.
But his third, and Thomas Hill back to the line. Billy, I mentioned a moment ago that 3 starters from the state of Texas. There were pickup games in the Dallas area at the Redbird Gym south of Dallas just this past summer. Jimmy King, Thomas Hill, Larry Johnson. And you think about it, Shaquille O'Neal, the players that have come out of the state and have left the Southwest Conference, it's alarming.
Now here you can see what Steve Fisher's doing. He's playing the percentages. He comes back with Rose, who has 3, but he knows that Rose has been very good at being able to protect himself and not fouling out, where Weber has not. And he knows he can't have both of them sitting at this key juncture in the game.
Howard on the rebound for his 3rd rebound, all in the second half. Riley posting up Laettner. Laettner comes over to help out on King.
Good rebound.
And Lang starts the break. Laettner on a wing. Hurley gets it back to him. Slipped out of Laettner's hands. King was on the line. Another great event starts Thursday night on CBS. Late night highlights. The first round of the Masters, both Thursday and Friday night. Weekend coverage coming your way as well on CBS.
But you can see they want to get the ball to Thomas Hill down there. He's got Rose on him, and he's trying to post him.
Lang couldn't handle it. Jackson ahead to King. King's going to dunk on him. Yes.
The Duke was so anxious to get the ball to Thomas Hill, hoping to pick up Rose's fourth, that they got out of their offensive sync. It's time now to go back to Christian Laettner in the low post.
39-37 Duke. 16 minutes to go. Grant Hill slips it in to Lang, and Duke dunks right back on Michigan.
Third time today that Grant Hill has taken him with that floater on the baseline. Left hand by Rose. He's got the drive.
Howard, after a couple of dribbles, ball tipped around to Grant Hill.
Good defensive balance by Michigan. Thwarted any opportunity to get the break. Immediate double team.
Three-pointer is short, way short. And with a dead ball under the 16-minute mark, an official's timeout in the national championship game. And now it's the third largest house to a college basketball game. The Superdome in New Orleans, next year's Final Four site, has the top 5 attendance figures of all time. The Astrodome is next, and then the Metrodome. Billy, take it away with the game summary.
Well, you look right there. It's pretty even all the way around. Laettner looking a little better here in the second half. And what Steve Fisher has done is said, I've got to come back now. I can't let Duke open up any margin. So he's come back with both Rose and Weber. Both have 3 fouls on them. Left-handed clear out for Rose. Hurley does a nice job on defense.
Riley, he's hit one turnaround, not this time. And a push off on Laettner.
Weber and Laettner could have been called either way as they were both battling for position. But Weber had the inside.
It was an anxious moment there for Steve Fisher, but Laettner is whistled for his first and only the second of the second half against Duke. Ray Jackson inbounds. Take it back out to King. Riley had it stripped away, right back Riley.
It should have been a jump ball situation. It was blocked, and he caught it, and then came down.
Lang sets the screen for Hurley with the left hand. Weber knocks it out
Riley,
of the back.
what a play by Riley. Strong rebound. Just as he came up with a huge game against Oklahoma State, he's in there today. He's got Hurley down in the low post.
And he pushed off Riley.
Yep. Great acting job by Bobby Hurley. Riley had him pinned down inside. He wasn't patient enough.
That's his first, Michigan's 4th team foul of the half. Cherokee Parks in for Duke. And Brian Davis comes in. Lang out, Grant Hill out.
Jim, the thing that's interesting about Brian Davis, we saw him try to loosen up that ankle before the game. And he didn't have an opportunity, obviously, to loosen it up because Duke was only out for about 30 seconds of warm-ups to start the second half. Let's see if it's really tightened up on him now. There's a switch.
Doubled up Laettner.
Well, see, Parks is not going to be played from there. Riley's going to fall back in on Laettner. Duke looking like they wanted to get something down inside with Parks and Laettner in a double low post.
10 on the shot clock. Davis wide open. Riley snags it for Michigan, his 4th. Rebound. Rose wants some help.
Weber thinks he can take Cherokee Parks with a dribble.
Must beat the shot clock.
Boy,
well, they got a little too frenetic at the end of that, and Rose dribbles it off his leg.
Now what Mike Krzyzewski going to do? He comes right back with Grant Hill, and he says to Brian Davis, thank you very much for giving me 30 seconds that I needed, young man. Even though he missed that jumper, I think Mike Krzyzewski felt he just had to give Grant Hill a rest.
Tell you a guy who could have given him some minutes tonight's Billy McCaffrey at 16 in last year's final. Hurley missing the layup. Laettner on the follow. No, Parks. He'll go.
That's another one on Rose. That's his fourth. Great follow plays on the inside by Cherokee Parks. And what Jalen Rose is saying to me is replay that one. See if that was my foul. And you know what? That one might have been, not the first one. And he's got to come out there now. It's got to be Talley coming in, and it is going to be. That was a great defensive effort, the last possession of Michigan's on behalf of Duke. Just took away every shooting opportunity.
Parks and Laettner talk. He's the heir apparent to Laettner's position. And what a way to burst onto the college scene by making your first 11 field goals in college. That's what Parks did. And now Talley comes in, and Rose out with the 4 fouls.
Jim Parks, another one of those super recruits, a McDonald's High School All-American. 8 of the 10 kids that started tonight were McDonald's High School All-Americans. So when you wonder where that talent pool is coming from, that would be a perfect example. You don't get here if you don't have players.
Riley really backed in on Parks and then pinned the ball to the floor, but they get the whistle now against Hurley, his third.
Well, remember the occasion where Riley was patient, was impatient, and the foul was called on Riley. This time, Riley just stayed with it, and they picked up Hurley, so that's a pretty even trade-off.
Duke leads it 43-39 with 12:30 to go.
Nice fake. Nice fake.
Too strong on the shot. Weber with the rebound to kick it out to Talley. Short on the three. Tapped again to Talley. Bounces it right into the hands of Davis, who returns.
And you notice Davis said to Bobby Hurley, no fast break. This game has been lacking almost completely of any transition baskets. Jim, you said it right. It's like a heavyweight boxing match by 2 old heavyweights that are just slugging at each other, neither one able to break open.
No knockout punch until, well, look at that, almost going in on the alley-oop pass.
And it was really, it would have been an easy play for Hill had that been thrown on the money. Bobby Hurley can't believe he misjudged that one. Not a pretty game at all.
Well, like I said, like a championship fight with 2 overaged and overweight fighters and no knockout blow. They go 15 rounds, and you can't tell who gets the decision. Riley on the blocks, doubled up. Weber gets Laettner to commit, dumps it inside and Talley.
Oh, great block by Cherokee Parks, the leading shot blocker on the Duke team.
It'll be Duke's basketball when we come back. An official's timeout. The Devils going for the repeat, leading by 4. Big Ten versus ACC. Billy, field goal percentage in this half backs up what we were saying a moment ago.
Well, Duke is a team that shoots right at 54% from the field, and Michigan right at 50%. Duke has not made a field goal in the last 4:42. Both teams do play hard-nosed defense to the point you don't get a lot of easy baskets, but neither team has been fresh in a half-court offense.
Laettner, three-pointer, his second of the half.
Well, that was a good-looking shot. Nice follow-through by Christian Laettner.
13 points for Christian Laettner. Duke has its largest lead, a 7-point lead, and a foul on Parks, his third. Duke's fourth.
Well, an experienced player in Riley who went through the Big Ten wars last year as a starting postman, just getting better position than his Parks. Parks is trying, but Riley's using the edge in experience.
Rose comes back, Billy, with the 4 fouls, and Ray Jackson goes to the bench.
Kind of surprised at that one. A little early to get Jalen in there. He fouls out, and they're really missing their leader down the stretch. I thought Steve Fisher would wait about the 6-minute mark.
Instead, 10:51 to go.
Real gamble here.
Bosco. Oh, he had 9 in the second half against Cincinnati. There's his first 2, but a driving shot similar to one he made and was fouled on in the last game.
In 9 and 7 minutes.
Thomas Hill makes a juke on Rose, missing. Weber, no doubt about that rebound, his 7th.
Thomas Hill ought to drive on Rose and not pull up with a jumper. Make him follow him all the way to the basket.
Hill steals it.
Almost the 5th foul on Rose.
Hurley.
They can't buy a basket.
Only the 3 by Laettner in the last 6 minutes. Hurley's 3 for 11 from the floor for the game.
Isn't it amazing how much quicker Bosco seems than everybody on the floor? He's got the fresh legs. What we're seeing in the Duke team is a club that has really had the battle to get here, and they are just worn down.
The lead had been 7 a moment ago. It's down to 3. Weber with 12 points.
Mike Krzyzewski using a little clock here.
Parks over Weber. Bosco. I thought the other 32 might get it, but Bosco gets the rebound. Laettner was too far under the basket.
Laettner's trying to push himself to run, but he just has no legs.
Michigan turns it over. 17 turnovers against the Wolverines as Lang and Howard return. And at the conclusion of this championship game, Billy and I will be selecting Chevrolet Players of the Game. In conjunction with the award, Chevrolet will donate a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
Jim, we talk about the men's championship where the guys not having any legs. The women had to come back without that full day's rest. So our hats off, have to go to Stanford for their conditioning.
Lang in a jam out to Hill. Hurley pump fake, sets up the 2.
What? Weber in, controlling the board.
And Hurley reached in. And for Hurley, that's 4 on Hurley. 4 on Hurley, 4 on Rose.
Well, neither team really has a man that can replace Rose or Hurley, but you'd have to throw it back over to Michigan, assuming if something happened to Rose, at least they have Talley, who was a starting point guard in the Big Ten last year. So I'd say advantage Michigan. I wonder if Duke is going to try to go a little zone. Try to save somebody. They're matching up in the zone.
Rose off balance.
Not a good shot.
Hurley with the rebound all alone.
And what's this going to take away for Hurley is his ability to penetrate, because he can't draw any charges.
Duke has made 1 of its last 10 shots. Laettner inside, working on Weber. Gets the fake. And he'll go to the line for 2. He may have been better off shooting the first time after the fake.
Well, he's so good at getting on that line. You can see Weber, who is going to... Tremendous head and shoulder fake by Laettner.
And that's the 3rd on Juwan Howard. Colonel Laettner will go to the line. That's what his teammates are calling him. He won all of these College Player of the Year awards and just recently was named the Rupp Award winner. And when you get the Rupp Award presentation, they make you a Kentucky Colonel. So kind of ironic with what he did to Kentucky this year. They call him Colonel on this Duke team now. Davis in for Hurley.
Yeah.
And Rob Pelinka for Michigan is back.
And Jim, you can see what Mike Krzyzewski is going to do when Hurley went out this year, as we remember, with the injury to his foot. It was Grant Hill that went to the point guard position, which is what he's going to have to do tonight. But without Brian Davis, that means Hill really would have to play almost all the remaining minutes while Hurley sits down. So maybe that injury to Hurley during the season actually helped Duke, because they experienced playing without him for a little bit.
Give Laettner his due. He has come back with 10 points in the second half, and Duke leads by 5.
Good ball fake.
Howard finds an open King, in and out.
Pelinka keeps it alive. Obviously, the ball hit the rim, and therefore the shot clock was set back at 45.
Jimmy King to Pelinka, blocked by Hill. Pelinka tried to improvise with the left hand.
Some block by Grant Hill.
Hill, Laettner, Davis, and Lang on the court.
And Mike Krzyzewski saying, I've got to rest my players by using this clock some. We saw Mike Krzyzewski go to this strategy when Hurley got hurt. They did this an awful lot. So they learned a lot during that period of time this season. At one point, Grant Hill out, other point, Hurley out.
Billy, they take 30 seconds off the clock. Now they put it back in play with Hill missing on the drive. Look at Davis fighting for it with the sprained ankle on the floor. Rose at the other end. Gets the roll. 9 points for Jalen Rose.
One of the things is tough is to complete a play when you go all the way in because Weber and Howard are so big inside.
Timeout called by Duke. Under 7 minutes to play. No one able to pull out with the big lead. It's now Duke by 3. Rose and Hurley with 4 fouls each. The Michigan team had a guest speaker last week, a motivational speech from Bo Schembechler. He told him, I didn't like you guys at first. I didn't think you played with teamwork. But you guys have now grown on me, and go get it. Go win it for Michigan.
Christian Laettner on a drive, can't handle it. What a finish. Hey, he is gutting it out here in the second half. Let's give him credit. First half, he disappeared. He doesn't have his legs here tonight, but he's gutting it out with everything he's got.
He has 12 of Duke's 20 in the second half.
And Weber's taking a challenge on right now. He wants the ball down low against Laettner.
Over the top, Laettner steals it. Puts him near that steal record. That's one shy of Mookie Blaylock. And by the way, Steve Fisher said to pass along best wishes to Millie Schembechler, who's been under the weather, and said the whole team's thinking of her. 50-45 Duke with 6:10 to go. Pelinka on Hurley. Hurley again, saddled with the 4.
Jim, before that basket by Laettner, Duke had hit their first 3 shots in the half, and then they were 2 for 14 up to Laettner's shot thereafter. That's 14%, and they're still in the lead.
Laettner, by the way, has scored their last 7 points. Hill driving past
everyone. Move again.
And he has the spin on it.
And a great play, a smart play by Antonio Lang. He was going to go up to give that a little touch and pulled his hand back. There are going to be some tired fellas when this game is over.
King, 3-pointer.
That's a push off inside. I think it's going to be on Weber.
It is on Weber.
His 4th.
4 on Weber, 4 on Rose. And that's number 7 against Michigan. That'll put Duke on the line for a 1-and-1. I think that was an ill-advised 3 by Jimmy King.
Yeah, it was. He didn't seem real sure of it. They're getting frustrated, and a lot of that is because Duke is playing great defense on their end of the floor. They're just not getting any easy shots. Remember the pass that Howard, it was probably an ill-advised pass that Laettner picked off where he tried to go down inside on Weber.
James Boskel signals for a Michigan timeout. Duke with a 7-point lead, which matches its largest lead. Each team has used a timeout in this half, 2 remaining for each. Duke has the arrow.
Jim, what I think we're going to see out of Duke the rest of the way is they're going to pull that ball out, try to take 30 seconds or so off the clock on every possession.
1-and-1 for Laettner.
And they are now back to what has become a Duke trademark. They have made more free throws than Michigan has shot.
Laettner says, I've got a bad memory. I don't remember last year's championship. I want another one. And he hits 2, and he is starting to take control of this game, Billy.
Yeah, he's shown a lot of courage in this game. Coming off of that first half and coming back the way he is now.
He has 19 points, and Duke with its largest lead of 9.
Duke picking up their defense, man-to-man, and Howard banging Lang inside, as is Weber with Laettner.
Bosco blocked it.
I think Laettner enjoyed getting up there on the boards on that one.
Foul on Antonio Lang, his first.
Jim, it's going to be really interesting to talk, regardless of the outcome of this game, to Christian Laettner afterwards and find out if he was physically or mentally drained at the start of this game, because it was so unusual to watch him not follow his shots, not be able to get up in the air. And you know, sometimes the emotional strain of all these kids have been through can just wear you out. You just don't have any effort whatsoever available.
Bosco, 2 shots. Michigan now with that free throw. 3 points in the last 5 minutes. Bosco and Riley were redshirt freshmen on that '89 championship team. They sat on the bench in street clothes. Now trying to contribute to the Wolverines championship hopes
And look
tonight.
at what happened. Michigan realizing Duke's going to try to occupy some time, picking up full court. Boy, that's asking a lot of effort. Steve Fisher has his team well scouted.
Laettner.
Bosco almost had that one.
Laettner called for it. He's doubled up, swings it over to an open Thomas Hill. Drives for the 2. Tipped up.
Oh, what a rebound by Thomas Hill. He really got off the ground on that play. Mike Krzyzewski loved it.
13 for Hill. Bosco, 3-pointer.
Oh, there was a push-off by Jimmy King. He knocked Thomas Hill right under the basket and got away with it.
Duke has possession and a 9-point lead with 4 minutes to go.
And there's that front court scoring. Duke way up 20-8, and there's what I was talking about. Take time off the clock, force Michigan to do all the chasing. The other thing this does is save Bobby Hurley from not getting in any further foul trouble.
15 of the 20 points you just saw front court scoring and a half for Duke, coming from Laettner, who really is backing in on Howard. Sets a screen now for Hill. Oh!
Mike Krzyzewski is exhorting his team on the sidelines like a super jockey over there. He's gotten them going down the stretch again.
Weber.
Tough shot, he made it.
3:15 to play.
Steve Fisher's going to have to press full court as Duke is going to occupy this clock. He's got to come out and get them. They've got everything up high now. It's an opportunity for somebody to go back door for an easy layup.
Hurley called a timeout. He was doubled up by Weber and King. Calls the timeout. Duke has only 1 timeout remaining. First half, he had 5 points, 7 turnovers. Second half, no turnovers and 14 points. What a turnaround, Billy.
Just a real great gut check by Christian Laettner, the player of the year. This is not unusual, however, because Duke, Jim, on the year has had 122 more assists than turnovers, and for Michigan, they have 37 more turnovers than assists. So Duke is playing to form here. Down to 14 seconds. Is the shot clock. Clear out. Rose has got a tough man.
Got to watch his 5th. Hurley with under 5.
Good block.
Hill has to beat the clock by a second. And tipped up and in by Grant Hill.
Grant Hill, 3 offensive tip-ins against Indiana with a crushing blow. And he comes up with 1 here. Big basket.
2 putbacks tonight for Grant Hill. And 9 rebounds. Double-digit lead for the Devils.
Trying to get Bosco for a 3.
Stolen by Hill.
Now Michigan really has to come out with some kamikaze pressure. Steve Fisher can't wait any longer.
Under 2. Under 2 to play. Lang is open. Lang for the jam. Timeout by Michigan. Each team is left with one timeout. The Devils are starting the celebration. Mike Krzyzewski was animated as well at that time. After the jam by Lang, a 13-point lead, 1:44 to play.
They've got to be thinking threes here. Voskuhl's a man they'd like to take it. Howard with a long one.
Grant Hill with
Hill
his
again.
10th rebound.
And Bobby Hurley just wants to use clock here.
Thomas Hill will shoot free throws. Fouled by Voskuhl. That's the 8th team foul. It'll be a 1-and-1 situation.
Jim, kind of surprised that Steve Fisher doesn't start playing that game of a certain team for offense and a certain team for defense and figure out like Pelinka's a three-point shooter, Voskuhl a three-point shooter, Jimmy King a three-point shooter. They've got to surround down there and go for threes.
1-and-1 for Hill. 13 points, 7 rebounds.
And that second number, Jim, is the one where he has played a huge game tonight. Called upon to go inside time and again to rebound, and he's come up with some great plays. Came to college as not one of the most heralded recruits, but has certainly become a valuable player for this team.
Even played for the U.S. team in the summer, Billy. Big future, Thomas Hill. Weber with his 11th rebound. He has another double-double. Rose with a 3. Tipped over the backboard. Duke basketball. Michigan has gone now almost 9 minutes with only 6 points. Reach in on King. Still a 1-and-1. That's the 9th team foul. The next foul situation will be a double bonus. He'll shoot 2.
Jim, one of the things about Mike Krzyzewski as a coach is this entire year, and I've watched him time and time again, game after game, he never talks about a negative. And I think that this team probably rode on his back tonight more than at any time in his coaching career when he went in there at halftime. He just does not allow a team to quit. His team certainly didn't have it in the first half. He kept them in that locker room, and give a lot of credit to that fellow who is now going down in the history books with some of the great ones.
Only the second coach to take 5 straight teams to the Final Four, and he'll join John Wooden. Wooden was the last to repeat. Michigan ball.
What Duke could do is break Michigan's back now, because Michigan is sending 5 men to the boards. All Duke should do is tap the ball long, and they'll find Bobby Hurley alone for a layup.
Weber. Rose.
Now Rose is kicking the ball.
And clock's still moving.
The clock
Billy.
is moving. Now the referee called the time, so that was not a wise thing for Rose to do.
His shot dropped through with a minute and 1 second to play, and took away about 6 seconds on the clock.
Pass with nothing on it. Riley could have picked it off.
Thomas Hill will shoot 2. That's 10 team fouls. Repeat winners, UCLA. Well, so many times in that remarkable stretch. Cincinnati, Bill Russell in San Francisco, Kentucky, and they were known as Oklahoma A&M back in 45 and 46.
Jim, one of the strangest championship games that I've had an opportunity to witness. There's a man here tonight in the crowd by the name of Jack Gardner that took 2 different teams twice to the Final Four and championship.
Utah and
Kansas State. Actually was the coach of the Kansas State team that lost to Kentucky, and he has seen every single Final Four. There may be somebody else in this arena that has, but that's some record.
Wonderful man, Jack Gardner.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer, age 82. Jason Bossard for Michigan. We'll see some minutes.
And Mike Krzyzewski, seeing what Steve Fisher is going to do, I think he may counter likewise.
Nonetheless, the final seconds of Christian Laettner's career coming to a close. His jersey will never be worn again. It's already been retired, and here comes Duke on the break. Behind the back, Hurley to Hill. Why not?
That's the play that was available. Nobody back for Michigan because they're sending 5 to the boards.
Rose. Laettner flips it back, burns some time, and King back to the front court.
See what Mike Krzyzewski's saying is foul because
can
Hurley not
Hurley
even in the 1-and-1 yet.
Set him up. Yep. And a timeout called by Duke.
He wanted to get the other players in, Jim. That's why he called the timeout, not to rub it into Michigan. I'm sorry. Well.
Really the first time we've seen Mrs. Laettner. She's been in a lot of pain with that neck operation several months back. First time we've seen her smile. She sends a kiss down to Christian Laettner, who has checked out of the game, and number 32 will never be worn on the floor again for the Duke Blue Devils. That jersey has been retired.
A 2,000-point score, 1,000 rebounds at Duke University. Certainly one of the great all-time players in college basketball history, and I'm so happy for him at what happened in the second half. At first half, it was had to be a nightmare for Christian Laettner.
Well, they wouldn't have made it to the Final Four 2 times in his career if it wasn't for his heroics.
Exactly, and you can see the Fab Five now starting to realize what it takes to get over that hump to be the national crown.
The game is over. The Duke of Destiny has won it. For the first time in 2 decades, college basketball has a repeat champion. Away, you can still feel the celebration back from Cameron. Duke is the 1992 national champion. 1991 began right here at the Metrodome with first and second round victories, and now back-to-back victories, and it ends the second half right back at the same spot. Mike, what about tonight's game?
Yeah, terrific defense in the second half, and Bobby Hurley and Grant Hill played great games for us, and so did Thomas. Christian had his worst half of the year, but then as a true veteran, he comes back in the second half and kind of leads us. But our defense in the second half, I think, was the story.
Christian really did lead you in the second half, but we were all wondering at halftime if there was something physically wrong with him.
No, I don't know if it's just the emotion of going through this whole thing. He was not himself. 7 turnovers. Are you kidding me? He was throwing up bricks, and we were only 1 point down. So we knew if we could turn up the emotion and get him back in the ball game, that we would have a shot at him.
Well, he came back with 14 points in the second half. Billy?
Grant, I want to ask you. Here comes Chris Joey. Great going. I want to ask both of you fellas. We sat there, as imagine Mike did, in amazement. Were you fellas emotionally spent or physically spent in that first half? Has it been that big a drain on you guys?
No, I don't think it's been a big drain on us. I think Michigan had a lot to do with our poor play in the first half. We weren't making shots. I was playing real weak. We weren't rebounding. And in the second half, we came out. We did a better job. And we weren't emotionally spent physically or mentally. Michigan was playing real well.
So I would imagine that the halftime that Coach put on you must have been one that was rather physical.
Well, Coach just all he did was challenge us at halftime. Just to go out there and play 20 minutes tough. But we weren't playing hard in the first half, and we were making a lot of mental mistakes. So we just tried to come out, play hard. You know, we knew Michigan was going to play hard, and I'm just so happy we came through in the stretch.
Christian, we've got Bill Walton in our truck. He was watching the game. You're the first guy since Walton that's been able to take a team to back-to-back. What does that feel like?
Well, thank you. It means a lot. You know, the most important thing is it's the Duke team. And we got the second national championship. Last year we had to work real hard to get the first one. It's just the best feeling to go out your last game at Duke on a winning note.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations. Duke again, the national champions, and all the best to you, Mike. Terrific job. And let's go now over to Pat O'Brien.
All right, thank you, Jim. And our Chevrolet players of the game, Grant Hill, who stepped up big for Duke, and Chris Webber of Michigan, our Chevrolet players of the game. And dear Mrs. Laettner, we're sorry we questioned your son at halftime, but he stepped up too.
He answered every question in the second half, got him right out of the box well. And Grant Hill, who will emerge as one of the top players in all of college basketball next season, Pat, especially with Laettner gone, had an immense game. He had to step up, as we said in the pregame. He was able to do that.
You told me at the hotel Grant Hill would step up tonight. As for Christian, better Laettner than ever.
That's
huh?
true.
I'm sorry. The trophy presentation is coming up after a commercial and a word from your local station. Stay with us here. We're having fun now. Champions again, the Duke Blue Devils over Michigan by 20 points, and the players are on the platform. The ladder is underneath the net. Somebody with the scissors there. They'll be cutting that one down again, as you see Christian Laettner, who got back into this game in a very big way in the second half, Mike.
No question about it, Pat. This is now a modern-day basketball dynasty. People don't realize just how difficult it is to do what this Duke team has done the past 2 years.
I actually saw Bobby Hurley smile down there. He likes this one. Let's go down now to our public address announcer, Frank Phelan, for the presentation.
Your attention, please, to present the championship awards tonight. Here is the chairman of the NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Committee, Mr. Roy Kramer.
It gives me a great deal of privilege tonight to congratulate these two great teams, as well as the other 62 teams who have given us so many magic moments over the past 2 weeks in this great tournament. And now tonight, it's my privilege to present the 1992 NCAA Championship Trophy to Duke University and Coach Mike Krzyzewski.
Wait, hold up, guys. Wait, 1 second. Listen, first of all, I want to thank the people of the city of Minneapolis for putting on a great tournament. Secondly, I want to congratulate a great team that came in second, but they had a fantastic season, the Michigan Wolverines. Lastly, I want to thank our fans, and I want to the parents and the families of our kids, And most of all, I want to thank my team for winning this. They've been a great group to go #1 the whole season long, and I'm very, very proud of them. Thank you.
There is a winner and there is a loser. And when we come back, we'll hear from Steve Fisher.